Assalamualaikum. Hi, hello everybody. My name is Azwin Arif. Welcome to my session. This is UHL 2422 English for Technical Communication lecture series. In this session, we're going to look at sources of description. By the end of this session, students should be able to understand the concept of sources of description in technical description, and secondly, students should be able to provide specific examples of sources of description. Before we move on, let's look at definition. Sources of description gives meaning or description to the physical details and quantifiable aspect of an object. Yes, we're looking here gives meaning and description. And in technical description, all aspects must be specific. The question is, how specific it is? Now, let's say, to show how specific it is, let's say, I have a piece of pencil over here. The product is A star model P8800. A star model P8800. If I were to Google A star P8800, I can guarantee you will have the same object, which is yellow in color, yellow, red and silver in color, and the type is 2B pencil. That's how specific it is. Right? Now let's move on. Let's say that you have a product now. It's called Rayovac Workhorse. You may want to Google yourself. And how would you describe this particular flashlight? Small, not so small, oblong. It can be anything, right? So, sources of descriptions actually helps us to put meanings into a particular description. It can vary from size, shape, color, texture or finish, dimension, the material itself, methods of attachment, orientation or parts to each other. You can even talk about the capacity, the volume or the amount, the pattern or the design. Even we can talk about smell or odor, and even age. So these are all at least 12 sources of description that we have. So let's go one by one. The first one is size. Now have a look at this. If you say, let's say for example, like I have a shirt and the shirt size is XL. If you were to say that in technical description, that is not clear because we need to be specific. How specific it is? Have a look at this example. Now, if you talk about size, you don't just merely say XL, but you can actually look at the example of XL over here. So if you say XL, okay, it says over here chest 44 to 46, 39 to 42 for the waist, and neck is 17 or 17 and a half. So that's how specific when you talk about size, right? XL, L, those are very vague, so we don't accept that in technical description. Secondly, we have shape. So we have so many shapes around us. Example over here, I mean, there's a numerous example. So coming from circle to nonagon to rhombus to acute to ellipse. Okay, and you have all the examples given to you. So basically, when you talk about the shape, so for remember the shape of the workhorse. So what are the shape is it? So you need to, maybe most probably you have to break it off into several parts so that you can talk about the shapes. So of course it's not, it is a cylindrical, in nature it's cylindrical, but part of it is not cylindrical 100%. Some of it is you have a flat surface, right? So this is an example of shape. All right, so let's talk about colors, right? So if you say what is the color of my shirt? Alright, so my uniform is, I don't know, green. But how green is green? So have a look at these color examples over here. So we have gray, so we have fuchsia, magenta, and so many colors around. But if you want to be specific, or should I say more specific, in case that your pitch is not as the same as my pitch, for example, in terms of color, we can use codes. So if you look at over here at this side, so you have color codes. So FF0000 will refer to this particular color. So if you talk about green, I believe my color green is 007840. So this is the color of the green of my shirt. So you need to be specific, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Yeah. Another one is texture of finish. So how do you actually describe texture? So example over here is rough. Can you see that? So if you touch it, and then, oh, it's rough. The texture is rough, and the finishing can be smooth. For example, like a bowling ball can be very smooth. And over here, most probably I would say this is glossy, right? Looks glossy. All right. This is matte, and this is shining. Right? Okay, another one is dimension. So another sources of description is we will talk about dimension. So dimension we talk about the length, the width, and the height. At some point, you can even talk about the edges. Okay, from one edge to another edge. So you have a dimension on that. Okay. Next, we have materials. So in materials too, you have to be specific. So what is this? Can anybody answer? If you say wood, then you're not being specific. You're being general or vague. So this is cengal wood. Alright? And how about this one? Yes, this is teak wood. Or in Malay called jati. And how about this one? This is a Y10 steel. In terms of material. And you can talk about materials such as carbon fiber. So materials as well, you need to be as specific as possible. Right. Another sources of description is methods of attachment. So if you look at the first item over here, this is, yes, correct. It's welded or welding. Another attachment over here is glued. How about this one? Everybody should know. Yes, it's nail. And this is bolts and nuts. So this is one way of describing methods of attachment. Yes, another part is what we call as orientation of parts to each other. How does it say? Very simple. You can talk about this particular rumah dapur. Yeah, this rumah dapur is actually on the right side of this particular rumah ibu. So, orientation will tell you where it is located. Okay, this gable end over here is located on top of the roof, whereas the serambi is located on the right side. Well, basically, if you're looking at this orientation, but then again, if you're talking about the Malay house, this one comes to the front. Okay, right. Move on a bit. We talk about capacity or volume or amount. We can describe things in terms of this. So have a look at this. This is water tank. What will be the capacity or the volume or the amount? I believe this is 1,500 liters. This is 900 liters. And it depends. So that is in terms of capacity. You can talk about the capacity and volume. Or even for capacity, you can even describe the engine, the cubic cc, the cubic capacity of the engine, and I believe this is 1,100 cc. Right? Next, we have patterns and design. So when we talk about pattern and design, we need to be specific too. Yes, when we talk about technical description, sources of description, you have to give examples in a minute details, I suppose. All right. So the first pattern is called arabesque, and the second pattern over here is called barcode. Okay, and we have several patterns over here. Right. Maybe we can actually describe hairstyle. Like for example, some of you have a nice wavy hair. It can be seen like that, or you can have nice straight hair. Yes. So these are examples of patterns or design. Right. Another one is smell or odor. And smell and odor is rarely people actually describe smell or odor. They would say that smells nice or very vague, smells sweet are now being specific. You can be more specific over here. So look at it. Let's look at examples over here. So we have. I'm looking at a few samples only. Have a look at item number 10, butanol. Have you ever smelled the butanol? So over here it says butanol is somewhat, the odors is malty and solvent-like. So it's a bit sting, right? And whereas you can have examples of odor like fresh smell, vinegar-like smell, popcorn-like smell, roasty. Oh, must be nice. Okay, and then you have coconut-like example, right? If you have a smell coconut odor, you can remember how it smells, right? So descriptions, I mean, this is how you put a meaning to the description of a certain items. Okay, moving along. Yeah, we can also talk about age. Now, examples over here, I have the age of kitten as compared to human beings. So if you can see over here, ladies and gentlemen, so 6 months kitten is equivalent to 10 years human. Alright, so I have a cat. It's already close to 7 years. So 7 years is 44 years, as same almost the same age as me. Alright, so that's how you actually describe of age. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 12 sources of description. As I mentioned to you again, sources of description is very crucial when it comes into technical description. So let's go. Let's recap. So we have size, shape, color, texture or finish, the dimension, the material, the methods of attachment, the orientation of parts to each other, the capacity in terms of liters it can be, or in terms of cubic capacity, it all depends. The pattern or design, so you have the zigzag, the wavy, and the smell or odor. Um, citrus smell, or fresh smell, and finally we have the age. And with that, I think that is the end of the session. Thank you very much. I'll see you again. Bye bye.